Hello you guys, Alex B Alchemy here for your weekly card pull. Today I'm going to be doing a reading for the week of February 20th, 2023. Now this specific reading is designed for all of my Gemini. So if you are a Gemini sun, moon, rising, or even a north node, this one is for you. I have two oracle decks and a tarot deck. I'm feeling like I'm a little bit more called to pull from the oracle today, so I'm going to start out with those. If I feel like I want clarification or a little bit more of a solid answer on anything, I will move into tarot. For those of you who are new to my readings or have never tuned in before, welcome. It's lovely to have you here. For my returners, thank you for being here and coming back to the reading today. I usually like to start out my readings by asking a general question. So the question I like to move into these with every single week is what guidance would be helpful, what perspectives would be helpful for you as you are approaching or moving into this upcoming week. So my dear Geminis, I am now channeling for all of you. So give me one moment just to see what cards want to come out for you and what messages want to come up. As I am pulling the cards, something to keep in mind, if you haven't already followed me on social media anywhere, please feel free to do so. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, everywhere at alexab.alchemy. And then of course here on YouTube, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel but you like readings, feel free to do so. I do a reading every single week. Oh my god, cards are flying. So anytime that you need guidance or anything like that, it's a really wonderful free resource for you guys to tune in. So let's see what we have today for you. I have quite a few cards in reverse, I'm not gonna lie. So with this deck, I'm starting out with the Crystal Spirits Oracle deck, so all of the cards are related to a crystal. I actually pulled a lot of cards in reverse, and as noted with this specific deck, anytime a card is pulled in reverse, it's generally acknowledging something that you might have a little bit of shadow work with, a little bit of resistance to. Not bad, it doesn't mean bad, it doesn't necessarily even mean hard. It just means something that you might want to think twice about or look a little bit more closely with. So there are some cards in upright as well, which is very encouraging, but there are, yeah, I feel like there might be some themes coming up for you guys. We are, today actually, the 20th, we do have a new moon, yes, new moon in Pisces. I am posting a video on TikTok. By the time I upload this, that will have been posted. I call my TikTok What the Fuck Astrology, and I kind of talk about what's going on in astrology. So if you want to dive into that a little bit more, you're welcome to do so. But the long story short of new moon in Pisces, this is a really beautiful time for kind of turning within, doing a little bit of self-reflection, and especially when it comes to things related to water signs, so emotions, spirituality, etc. Those may be really big themes for you right now. So if you've noticed those things coming up in your life, etc., this might be a really good time to pay attention to those. Now, my dear Geminis, I actually think there's a lot of really positive messages here that are encouraging you to work with that new moon energy in a way that enables you and encourages you to release old patterns, especially subconscious patterns. I pulled for you guys in reverse the stone of amethyst. I also pulled for you guys, where is she? The card of moonstone. I will explain these in a moment. And finally, I pulled for you guys the card of amber. So these three, there's a few more that came out as well, but these three seem like the ones that are kind of being highlighted to me that I want to start out with summarizing. Moonstone has a really big importance for you, so you're either going to find within the energy of this week or within certain experiences, opportunities to tap into and tune in with your intuition, which is really amazing, again, especially because of the new moon. If you haven't already done like a new moon ceremony, even after a few days after the new moon has occurred, that energy is still present, it's still there for you, so you're welcome to tap in and utilize that. You can do new moon journal prompts a couple days after the new moon, it's not really a big deal, but I do feel that a lot of you, my dear Geminis, are actually going to have this opportunity to drop down a little bit deeper into your emotions. Now, the Gemini sign, whether anywhere that it is in your placement, Gemini is an air sign, so there is a lot with Gemini energy in the way of thoughts and communication and ideas and whatnot. And so some of you may be a little bit more prone to or used to coming out of thinking, feeling, and even acting out of this space, which is your head. And I feel like there are going to be some really amazing opportunities for you to move from up here to down here and then find like a nice happy balance, because you don't want to be living from your emotions all the freaking time. I think it's important to have a balance between logic and intuition. So I do believe that there are going to be some amazing opportunities for you in that regard. Now, the cards that I pulled for you guys, both Amber and Amethyst, I believe they were both in reverse. I'm so sorry, I might have turned one of them. I know for sure Amethyst was reverse. I think Amber was as well. Either way, they both seem very important, and they both have similar concepts that are going to be important for you. So Amethyst, this card is really, and again, I pulled it in reverse, which is why it's upside down. In the upright, she looks like this. Anytime this card comes up, it acknowledges this level of familiarity and potentially unconscious patterns. When this card comes up, there is an encouragement to begin healing patterns that you are ready to release, especially some that maybe you are not consciously as aware of. So I feel like for some of you, there are subconscious patterns at play within your work, within your relationships. Relationships is really strong for some people, that maybe you have fallen asleep to, again, with Moonstone, I feel like some of you have fallen asleep to that intuition or have been neglecting it, or it's been there but maybe not paying as much attention to it as you could be, or you're super absorbed in your rational mind. I think the other cards will provide a little bit more clarity on that. And I do believe that there is a really big opportunity for you this week to consciously choose to release some of those old patterns and habits that you no longer feel serve you. I did also pull the card of Amber. In the upright, she looks like this. And Amber, ironically, is also about patterns, but this one pertains a little bit more to karmic patterns, family patterns, maybe intergenerational trauma, or lessons that have been passed down to us. This can take the form in a few different ways. So you're likely going to be experiencing the energy of family-related things. This can present in a multitude of different ways. I think this is where I love acknowledging that any kind of astrology, tarot, oracle, etc., if it feels very general, it's because there's like a multitude of ways that this specific energy can come through in your life. For some of you, you may feel like a move back home or a visit home or calls from family, or there's something that's kind of pulling you back into family energy to look at those patterns. For others of you, you may notice it in your dreams. Again, Moonstone, this card also has implications with dreams. So some of you may be experiencing more in your sleep, if that makes sense, or processing more in your sleep. If that's the case, beautiful. Congratulations. I honestly think that's one of the best ways to process things. But I do feel that a lot of you are going to have opportunities to see where maybe some of your, with Amethyst, some of your subconscious patterns, maybe some of those subconscious patterns are coming out as a result of things that you have inherited within your family. Or alternatively, again, this doesn't have to be blood family. This could be the people that you identify as family. But I feel like for a lot of you, it's going to be a little bit more related to old patterns and old habits you've taken on from a young age. Whether those were coming from a past life, if that's something that you subscribe to, your family, or some kind of like karmic ties. For some of you, I do feel like there are karmic ties that you're going to loosen or release that you no longer need to carry. And if that is the case, beautiful. Because the new moon is in Pisces, there may be some emotions with this. Again, there's a level with the Moonstone and the new moon in Pisces that's pulling you down into this heart-centered space. As noted, dreams may be something that's a little bit more prevalent for you. What I like to note about any kind of new moon in Pisces, we have new moon in Pisces, also the sun is in Pisces. Piscean energy is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is the planet of dreams. If this all seems way too esoteric, just take the basic message, which is dreams and the subconscious mind, the intuition, those like the sort of emotional things that you can't really see that feel very strong, and there's a level of like a pull that comes with those. I think those are going to be prevalent topics for everyone. But for you, my dear Geminis, I do feel it's going to come forward in the way of family patterns or subconscious patterns, especially ones that you've been living with for a long time, that maybe you're ready to release and let go of. And there's a lot of positive energy for you right now to begin that process. Generally speaking, new moons are a really good time for intention setting. So you can align with, does it feel good to begin releasing this? The full moon is seen as the time for climax, change, release. So that is generally more the time when those the fruits that you're planting, or the seeds that you're planting now, will bear fruit within roughly like 2 weeks, or during a full moon, depending on how what your intentions are and what the topic is. Moral of the story, though, I feel like there's a lot of encouraging energy for you right now to acknowledge and look at what are the things that I want to release, and can I start setting the intentions for those shifts and those changes. If you feel like you set intentions and they're not happening right away, don't feel stressed, don't be worried. Life comes in cycles, life comes in phases. It's not necessarily meant to happen all at once, my dear Geminis. And I think because Gemini, again, is an air sign, there might be a little bit of a mental battle with this. So my encouragement for you would be to be gentle with this process. Now, this pulls me to the next card that seemed really important, which was the card of Labradorite. This is honestly one of my favorite cards in the entire deck. Labradorite, the primary message that I get every single time that I pull this card is to release the need for certainty and instead make room for magic. So there are certain things where, again, you may feel like I need to know what's going to happen, or I need it to unfold in a certain way, or I need it to happen within a certain timeline so that I don't feel lost in this process. And I feel like for a lot of you, releasing that mental, that cognitive need to know what's going to happen next will actually make the process feel a lot smoother and maybe a lot more fun. Yeah, I feel close on that. I'll move forward and then maybe come back to that. I did pull, okay, these 3 cards, I feel like I want to present them all together because they were all in reverse. So I pulled the card of Aquamarine in reverse, Celestite in reverse, and Bronzite in reverse. So all right, Aquamarine is all about clarity, clear discernment, utilizing your intuition as well as your logical mind. So I do feel like for some of you, because this was in reverse, maybe there are some things that are unclear, my Geminis, that you are working with, which is normal, honestly, like part of life. So it's likely that you're going to be navigating that in some arena. So that feels like a theme that might be coming up for you a little bit more than usual. There's also the theme of loyalty and trust with the card of Bronzite. So I feel like some of you may be looking for clarity as to whether or not there is a situation, a person, an offering, something, whether or not it is trustworthy or something that you can put your trust into. Also a level with Bronzite, there's a level of like self-respect or respect for others, loyalty to your own word, and a level of trust in the universe as a whole, not necessarily in certain situations. So moving back to the card of Labradorite, of, you know, making room for magic, I feel like some of you may be challenged, and maybe this was a family pattern. Maybe this was a pattern that you inherited or have lived with for a long time of not trusting things, and so you're feeling like, oh, I need to know what's going to happen before I take action. And I think a lot of you are being encouraged to maybe release that way of thinking, and to release an attachment to that way of thinking, and to instead open up to the idea that no matter what happens, you are going to be okay, even if it doesn't turn out the way that you think that you want it to, or the way that you consciously want it to. Also, with these 2 cards, again, I pulled Celestite in reverse, and this card is all about connection to the divine, to the angelic realm, to spirituality. So for some of you, if there are challenges that are coming up, because these are all 3 in reverse, I do feel there's a level of challenge in a positive way that you might be experiencing. And if that is the case, my encouragement for you would be to open yourself up to your spiritual practice, whatever that is. And I think for different people that looks different. For some, they subscribe to more of the quote unquote religious beliefs. Some call themselves more spiritual. Some don't even really like to identify with either, but they have a connection to the earth, the land, animals, nature, psychedelics, you name it. So there's definitely even music. I think honestly this one feels very important for some of you. I feel like music might actually be really helpful for some of you in feeling and healing some of the things that might be coming up. So I do feel that there's definitely this relation to like spirituality and to your own guidance that's going to be coming up. Again, because I'm going to keep coming back to this Moonstone card, but because I also pulled Celestite along with Moonstone, one of them was in reverse, I do believe that there is kind of like this coming back to yourself and your own inner guidance being communicated to you, maybe through dreams, maybe through your own intuition, but I feel like this is rooted in you. I don't feel like this is something, like, sure, if you're connecting to the divine or angelic realm or whatever, you may see angel numbers everywhere. You may feel like this is a process you are relating to the external world in, and I think you will learn these things by relating to the external world. But I do feel that a lot of you are going to be experiencing a lot of growth that's coming from deep within yourself. And the world just reflects that back to you. And finally, my dear Geminis, card number 33. I did also just look at the camera time, and it was at 11:11. So there's some angel numbers right there for you. But I pulled the card number 33 of Lithium Quartz, and this card is kind of like the essence of Sagittarian energy. If you are interested in astrology or familiar with it, if not, Sagittarius is very much about overall vision, big picture thinking, unlocking potential and a lot more possibilities, and also a level of being willing to explore those potentials and those possibilities. Having been pulled with the Labradorite, which ironically I actually have a little Labradorite stone sitting here with me. yeah, there's really big, heavy in a good way, like intense energy that is encouraging you to be like super open to a lot of these encouraging possibilities. There are like 3 to 5 cards in this deck that I see as like the yes, explore, open your mind, it's gonna be okay kinds of cards. And honestly, these are 2 of them. So I feel like there's definitely some opportunities for you to reframe, to reframe from the amethyst and the amber, to reframe some old family patterns or some patterns that you've been living with. I do feel that your intuition will likely guide this process. Your connection to your spirituality will guide this process. Some of you may be dealing with trust or lack of trust, lack thereof, with yourself, with other people, with situations, with work, relationships, etc. So whenever the theme of trust comes up, I would encourage you to like maybe take a step back and say like, okay, how is this situation or whatever reflective of something that's much deeper, like a deeper belief or a deeper pattern within me that I am working to or have set intentions to heal or work with or shift. And if you don't feel like you need to shift any beliefs, kudos, congratulations to you. I would encourage you to stick to that very open and explorative energy. And if you are working on fixing some of these, not fixing, but healing through, working through some of these beliefs that you really no longer want to carry, and that is an intention that you have set, I would encourage you to bring some light into your intention setting practice by tapping into the myriad of possibilities that exist, and you don't even know what some of them are. I think, honestly, one of my favorite graphics that I ever saw, I was in high school, and it was this chart with four quadrants, and in the first quadrant, it said things that you know, and it was like a very small percentage. And then the next quadrant was things that you don't know that you know, and it was also a very small percentage. And then there was one, things that you know that you don't know. So there are things out there that cognizantly like, oh, I don't know anything about aerospace engineering or whatever, you know, and there's slightly larger. And then there was a huge, like the bulk of, actually it might've been a pie chart, honestly, I can't remember how it was presented, but all I remember was this concept of these 3 quadrants that are quite small. And then the big, vast, large one is things that you don't know that you don't know. And I do feel that being open to the myriad of possibilities, being open to magic, being open to things happening, maybe in a way that doesn't feel super logical and in a way that's kind of like, holy shit, that was so serendipitous, how did that happen? Which is something that might come from acting a little bit more out of intuition than logic, because it's opening your eyes to what can happen when you are tapped into that other side. I do feel like that's gonna open up and unlock some potentials and some possibilities for you, especially if you've been feeling stuck, my dear Geminis. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in. I don't really feel called, I do feel called to see like what these 2 have to say. Okay, I have one other deck. I feel like I wanted to pull 2 cards. I thought I was going to close out, but these ones seemed important. So in reverse, celebrate your wins. Some of you, I feel like in this process, maybe a blockage that you're dealing with or a family pattern that you have been experiencing is a lack of willingness to celebrate yourself and where you are right now. So for some of you, even the like opening up those possibilities might just come as a result of being willing to celebrate where you're at right now and not feeling like you need to push or you need to make change or create change. Like take a minute to absorb where you're at right now and to celebrate that. And especially when there's any kind of healing or dealing with family patterns or old habits, etc. I think a lot of people can get swept up in this like spiritual perfectionism energy. And I do feel that a lot of you are being encouraged to maybe take a step back and just appreciate where you are along your journey right now. And also with the card of Labradorite encouraging you to release that need for certainty, it's also encouraging you to release an obsession with the past or the future and to really accept the magic and the beauty and the joy that is right now. And that includes who you are and where you are in your life. I also pulled, and this was in reverse, so I do feel like the reason that this one was in reverse is some of you that might be a little bit of a challenge, which is a good thing. And I also pulled for you guys finally, welcome the Divine Masculine. So this may feel a little bit counterintuitive, and I think this is really just calling you to make sure that everything that you approach comes from a level of balance, because masculine energy is direct, it is linear, it is point A to point B. Feminine energy is more of the moonstone energy, the intuition. So I think my Geminis, for some of you, if you feel at any point, I feel like this is definitely more of a, like, if you feel like you're getting swept away in the currents of your emotions or anything like that, you are always invited and welcome to tap back into that masculine energy. And if you feel like you've been super heavy in your masculine, you're always welcome to tap into the feminine. These are things that you can oscillate back and forth with. And being a Gemini, there's a level of comfortability with 2 sides of the same coin, some people, and that's why Gemini has unfortunately gained this reputation of being two-faced, because there's a capability with being able to see multiple sides, and I think that's a really beautiful gift that Gemini carries, and being able to act from both sides. So to honor your own authentic self and your own authentic nature, that duality that exists is likely something that you're gonna be able to honor, and maybe that duality in and of itself is one of the things that you're healing your family patterns or your own personal patterns is going to open you up to. So my dear Geminis, I love you so much. Thank you again so much for tuning in. As noted, if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel if you found this helpful. I do readings every single week, free of charge. You can always leave a donation if one speaks to you strongly or you want to. Also though, feel free to just leave a comment or a little thumbs up if it resonated, and that makes me just as happy, because I love knowing that these readings actually touch people and resonate with them. And finally, you can find me Instagram, TikTok, as noted, everywhere at alexaB.alchemy. So I would love to connect with you there. If you have questions, want further clarity, I do personal one-on-one readings. So if that's something that you're interested in, just shoot me a message anywhere and I will get back to you about next steps for that. And with all that being said, my loves, enjoy the rest of your week. I will see you guys on the next one, and have a good one. Bye.